Better go to YouTube stream, come on. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our channel over on YouTube, the second channel. Voices of the Monsterhood, which is yourselves. Cool.
Yeah, we're doing this. We have a dedicated YouTube channel for just for the Monstercast.
And I apologize for dying. I have an illness.
Testing.
And apologize for me for killing him by giving him.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. That was probably really, really loud. Yeah, sorry about that. I just turned my microphone down. It was set with my... for my lavalier mic. Is that better? I hope I wasn't yelling.
Yes, well.
Yes, right.
Is my audio better now, though?
It was alright before.
Yeah, it's pretty good in my opinion.
Okay. You guys are too sweet. Eventually I'm gonna have to eat you, so just be ready for that. Alright, let's get going here. Turn this down. Where am I here? Where am I? Where am I? Oh.
Magic lamp.
Alright, here we go. There's me. Okay. It's really me. I think. Sometimes I lie to myself. Alright, let's get this. Stop. Okay. Let's see.
I'm gonna find the savannah tree.
This. Alright, let's see if anybody's watching us yet. Okay, somebody might be. Let's stop this. Alright, again, guys. I'm very sorry. Somebody overslept. We're not gonna point fingers. We're not pointing fingers, but somebody overslept.
Aw.
Okay, it was
Well,
me.
we're all here now.
I'm gonna point my finger at this cow in Minecraft, which
Don't
I'm
point your
slaughtering.
tentacles. So, I'm sorry, but we are here.
Oh,
We are
wow.
doing this. This is
I'm pointing
happening.
with my gizzard.
I appreciate you guys for being here. I wasn't sure if anybody's gonna be remaining. 30 minutes late and the chat is full. That's awesome. It's beautiful. I appreciate it. It shows your dedication and it shows how bad I am. I'm sorry. I'll make it up to you somehow. You can make up
Don't have
things.
other friends.
Make up
We must
ways to
sacrifice
punish
him
me.
to the old gods.
Yes, I accept.
Can we sacrifice Procrastitron to the old gods?
Oh, yes.
Sacrifice!
He was the reason I overslept. Yes.
Yes. Excellent.
I hope
Also, you just admitted it was you. No, man.
I hope he's been behaving himself for the 30,
He
40
has
minutes.
not.
He has not.
He's been a naughty little scout.
He has done nothing but annoy everyone else.
Well done,
Insulting the
Procrastitron.
race.
Mostly you, though.
You have been yourself.
Mostly me.
He's being annoying. I didn't notice. Something that small.
And said I'm gonna bust some balls.
Alrighty.
Really think you can't hear
Okay,
the
guys.
fast
Welcome
sound.
to the Monstercast. If you're watching out there, this is Monstercast number 31. The second one officially being streamed here to YouTube. Did I? Oh, I need to update things. Okay. This is your favorite dragon, or the... What the hell did I do? Dragon! I'm still waking up. Let me update that. We're off to a rocky start.
Jesus.
Can somebody say something so that it seems like this is all planned?
Necrons! Plan
This is all brought to you by D&D Beyond.
D&D Beyond.
PROCR and said something.
Sacrifice.
D&D Beyond. D&D.
The ultimate D&D tool set.
Monstercast experience.
Nobody even caught that. Okay, your best. The best. Vampires. Vampires! Whew, okay. Alright, now we're ready to go. So we're going to be talking about our favorite vampires today. Last time we talked about dragons. And we do all kinds of topics. And if you guys are watching and are in the chat, you are always welcome to suggest topics for us. Looks like the chat's not going. I just clicked on that. I'm gonna pop it out.
I really.
But it's all good. It's all good. We are such a mess today. Not really. It's just me. Okay, so as far as vampires go, because I have made a video similar to this, the best monstrous vampires. It doesn't have to be monstrous, just your favorite vampire conceptions out there. And it doesn't even have to have an appearance. If you read an awesome concept and you can describe it, cool. If it's from a game, movie, anything, you can share it. Choose one, though. I don't care if it's monstrous or humanoid, like Dracula's.
I have a stupid idea I want to share, and all of you have heard it, except Arthur.
I want to hear it.
So, to begin, sounds like you might want to go first, C. Do you want to go first, and then I'll get the Wheel of Torture ready?
Excellent. I'll like to go first, but it's not actually a vampire, so to speak. It's more a concept within the world of darkness.
Okay.
You
So
see,
just a quick question: we're not talking about specific characters that are vampires.
mean-
You can just cover one, but yes, it can be a specific character. It can be
Because I was about to hit you guys with 3 flavors of lad, 1 foul, and 2 tablespoons of justice.
I'm going to be a bit more backwards and mention Alucard from Helsing Abridged.
okay.
That is
Yeah.
one of them.
Chris,
Yeah.
if you don't
Yeah.
overkill it with information and you just kind of shout them out and give us brief info, then you're fine.
Alright.
Especially since we're already late, you know.
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, should I just start?
Yes, please do, and I'll get everybody's
Well-
name.
Well, first things first. I had this crazy idea yesterday. We talked about a vampire named Mech. Well, it's short for some name I do not remember now. But the name Mech sparked a reference in me about the megalodon, the shark. And I suddenly thought of this sick scenario where we apparently had a lot of vampires being fed to sharks. Because sharks. And the blood in World of Darkness has an addicting kind of quality to it, and since all of the vampires died, they became slaves to to no one. I mean, they're just addicted to vampire blood now. Now, here comes the really stupid part. So, what if we get a Sharknado with giant flying, floating sharks that can smell vampire blood all over the world and just fly around and eat vampires?
You're sounding drunk, C.
I'm sorry. It's
Sounds
just
like
it's just the best and worst idea I've ever had.
It sounds like a ridiculous sci-fi movie. We also suggested later we can make it into an anime if we had a lot of anime schoolgirls.
Ghoul Sharknado.
Anime schoolgirl.
Yes, and every one of the sharks is wearing small anime skirts and strange ribbons and have magical powers.
Yes.
You would ruin the
yeah.
concept worse than Twilight did.
No. We won't ruin the concept. That's going to be a really cool world. We're just
It'll
going
be
to invade
super
it with
serious.
Okay.
flying sharks. Imagine it.
Flying sharks, that would be
sharks.
a
Like,
fun movie
super,
to see.
super serious.
I mean, we could also give them lasers, but that would be just a tiny bit overkill, wouldn't it?
No.
The
No.
Sharknado itself. All by
Okay,
itself
dogs
was
are
kind of an
evil.
ordeal.
3,
That film was like the most ridiculous thing ever.
8.
Yes,
Says
but it's not.
Procrastratron, but we don't talk about him.
But is it vampire eating ghouls sharks? Because I feel like vampire eating ghoul sharks is probably just a tiny step above.
Z, look in the chat, in the main voice camera and text chat.
Mm.
Curious.
Why? Why?
Because
I'm
you
never
said
looking
animation.
into that chat again.
Okay, chat is very quiet on YouTube. I think I have everybody's name. Looks like I'm missing somebody because I have 8 names. And there should be 9 without C. Is that correct?
Ought to be.
Ought to be. Did I get super on there? Oh, I skipped super finally. Okay, all right. And now we have her. Okay, then C, is that it? Is that...
Oh well, I could also mention Alucard from Helsing Abridged. Not the actual Alucard from the Helsing series.
Mm-hmm.
Just Alucard from Helsing Abridged. He's his own thing. He's literally just a tiny bit better.
Can we get an
just
image?
A tiny bit more. Yeah, give it an inch, and you know.
No, can we have an image of him, please?
It's the same
it's
one
just-
as Alucard.
It's just
from Hellsing.
Alucard.
So why
I
do you
got you,
prefer
pal.
him, C? What does he have? What's that little thing extra that he has? That you like?
Personality.
Personality.
Gotcha.
And an excessive large vocabulary of interesting ways of insulting people.
Okay, so I've heard a lot about him. I haven't seen the anime yet or read the manga.
Okay,
Neither
see,
have I, but I saw the abridged version.
Okay, Arthur, see what you do is, first you watch the original Helsing anime,
Okay.
then you watch Helsing Ultimate, and then you watch Helsing Ultimate Abridged. Watch all of them with the English dub, because Helsing is one of the few anime that is infinitely superior with the dub.
Okay,
That's
gotcha.
pretty
That'll
sure it's
definitely
called
help out.
I
Okay.
mean, it is in England, and right, so it needs those European accents.
And anything special about him? So does he follow the general conception rules, such as he can't go out in daylight? He
No.
needs blood.
He kind of don't like rules as we know them.
Okay, so tell me about him
see-
a little bit.
Well, Alucard in this case is, to anyone's surprise. Okay, I should maybe keep that to myself. But he's a fuck-mothering vampire that just vampire people brutally. And
Would you like me to describe about Alucard?
yes,
'Cause I'm
Chris,
basically-
you are probably better suited to describe this person.
Okay, so to the surprise of absolutely no one, Alucard is in fact Dracula, aka
You
Vlad
spoiled
Tepes.
it.
It's obvious.
No, you're just being backwards.
Okay,
And,
tell me about
so-
his specifics.
He is literally the manifestation of evil upon Earth, essentially. Though he has a decent moral code for a fuck-mothering vampire, as he put it.
Decent
As
is
a-
a strong word, Chris.
He went off to kill Nazis in World War II. I'd say that's a good person.
Listen, every one of their mother in that anime have killed Nazis.
Continue.
I guess. So the thing about Alucard is, when he drinks the blood of someone, that someone's soul is absorbed into his being and kind of gives him a one-up regeneration, where he can basically, no matter how destroyed he is, he revives because he uses up a life, essentially. In addition to that, he can also summon forth all the souls that he has devoured in a massive pool of blood that turns into an army of demonized blood zombies that come out of him and are connected to him. And you still have the usual super strength, super speed, can hypnotize people with his eyes.
Okay.
He also has a pretty cool dog, Baskerville, which is like a monster demon dog that allegedly belonged to the devil, but Alucard took it just can. And so it's also a part of him now. I'm not going to spoil the ending, but the guy is basically immortal.
You just built the engine.
Shut up.
I'm not saying how he is immortal, but basically immortal. And he also has 2 very OP guns, which shoot magical, divine blessed bullets kind of stuff.
Okay, so
And
does
he
he...
can shapeshift.
and he can shapeshift. To what degree?
He also has a sword.
Yeah, he sometimes. Okay, so to quote a particular part from Helsing Ultimate specifically, where a German SJW chick was accusing him of being a racist, misogynistic pagan that supports whatever, he responded with, and I quote, "You know, the funny thing is, in almost every other circumstance, you would have had a point there. However, my boss is a woman. I used to be a chick in the 40s. I hate everyone equally, and there's no one alive who can understand my sexual preference.
Nice. Okay.
So it can either go into
Very
a flurry
fitting
of
for this day
bats,
and age.
transform into monsters. A predominantly favored form is a big black dog. Transform into other people, and he has
Mhm.
3 known distinct forms. He has his Vlad Tepesh form, where he has an absolute sick facial hair and the stash oil. I'm gonna find one of
And
those.
badass armor.
Yeah, let's see that.
And badass armor. Yes, here
And
it
a sword.
is. Yep. Then in the 1940s, when he was killing Nazis, he was a 14-year-old, at least in the form of one. And in the modern day of the anime, he is with the red trench coat, glasses, and the hat
Okay.
that you see above.
Oh, and he was in the
So-
basement of the Helsing organization.
As far as transformations, it looks like he goes through. He can do logical ones, so nothing as crazy as a little fly like Loki, but something of relevant size. Correct?
No, he's the bombastic type. He does not do covert. His idea of covert is the same as
Not leaving anyone alive.
yes,
Yeah.
he can do this kind
The
of stuff.
stealth is optional kind of
I like that.
thing.
Yeah, he like the
Nice.
what is their name? The Ehart's assassin guild from where you have the official assassin. Their way of not leaving any of them killing someone without anyone noticing is that killing everything so no witnesses are left. That's what he does.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as far as his feeding, you said he feeds on souls. So, will he feed on blood and souls simultaneously or separately?
He feeds on
Blood
the
is
blood
the
from
currency of the soul.
Yeah, he feeds on the blood, and by sucking up all of the blood from someone, their soul is basically absorbed into his body. But the food is the blood, basically. And frankly, he doesn't even need to eat. Vampires in this universe can eat normal food. It's just not as sustainable.
Okay. Sounds cool. So over.
And it depends on the type of vampire, because he and his one fledgling, the only vampire he has ever created from himself, they are the only true vampires that have these OP transformation soul absorbing powers. Everyone else is kind of a secondary vampire that are basically fake, much weaker, can't transform, only have some basic ass abilities, most of which are just increased strength. Also, vampires in this
And
universe,
speed.
when they bite someone who is not a virgin, that person basically raises up as a zombie under their thrall, and those zombies are called ghouls. It's only if someone is not a virgin, if they get bitten by a vampire, do they turn into a vampire themselves.
Oh, fuck.
You just contradicted yourself there.
How?
You said not a virgin twice.
No, I said virgin
Where-
first.
Are we still
Sorry.
talking about Alucard?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
This system is complicated.
If you
Virgins get turned into vampires, non-virgins get turned into ghouls.
Yes.
Okay, that clarifies the ghoul thing. Ghoul.
But they're not really ghouls, they're just zombies, to be fair. They can use they can use weaponry and armor. As one of the vampires later on to a particular location, and his army of ghouls use thick like police armor shields and also
Right
guns.
here.
So they're not all mindless. Okay, guys.
They are mindless,
And they're
but
all
they are influenced by
subservient
the will
to
of
the vampire that bit them.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, perfect. So a little bit of a hive mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Individual
Well-
hive minds from each vampire to his.
Question to you guys on the matter of these 3 anime. As I like to ask you guys, although I never get to watching any, which would you prefer? Which would you put on top? Would it be this is Helsing, right? So Helsing,
Yes.
the new JoJo one, or Tokyo Ghoul?
Oh, Helsing.
Ooh,
No.
Helsing all the way.
I've only watched Helsing. Tokyo Ghoul scared the living shit out of me.
I haven't watched
Ooh.
either of them, so I can't really
Yeah.
comment on that. The only thing I think that you might be able to say is an anime that I've seen that involves vampires is the Castlevania series on Netflix, and that was only the first season.
Gotcha.
That
Okay.
was pretty good. You need to watch
Yeah,
the
it's
second
pretty
one
good.
too.
It is glorious.
Cool.
But yeah,
Yeah, I used to do
Helsing
remember.
is a must-see. Specifically, Helsing and Helsing Ultimate. They are a see
Still
one of
better
the
than
top 10
Castlevania.
classic anime that needs to be seen. Tokyo Ghoul is oh god.
Well, C said that it
You can save
scared
yourself the
him.
time from not seeing it.
Yes.
That's because he's a pussy. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
boring.
All right. Well, so Helsing is even better than Castlevania, I hear, yes?
Yes.
Okay, and Raincrawler, we have Raincrawler over on
Arguably, yes.
YouTube. Go ahead and say hi to Raincrawler over on YouTube.
Hey, what's up,
He's
dude?
watching us and joining the
Hello
chat.
there.
He says Ultimate Helsing. So, awesome. All right, we got some viewers going. Finally. Are any of you guys watching us on YouTube? Just to know how many viewers we actually have. No? Nobody here is watching us on YouTube? Okay.
I can't
I am.
do that well. It's because I'm worried about some kind of feedback loop when I am on the mic.
Yeah.
So it would be kind
And
of difficult
Okay.
to
Yeah,
do
I
that.
am
I
watching.
don't
on
even know where
So Chris, so that's
the
one
new
view.
one is.
I might be one view. Who is Helldrake? Is that one of you guys?
That is me.
Okay, that is you, Chris. Wow. Did I know that? I don't know. Now I'm going to have to look at all Helldrake's comments through the years. Cool. Okay. Thank you, Chris, for the post there. And let's go to the next person. Thank you, C, for sharing, and thank you, Chris, for clarifying. C, are you what's the word? Satisfied with that?
Yes, I have nothing more to say. I don't think I can say any more to spoil the series, except going into great detail.
Okay, excellent. And C, we missed you last weekend. I hope you won
I was
against.
taken away from my ability to be online.
I hope you won against the monster on the island.
I'm sorry, I'm still under its clutches.
Oh boy. Okay. So, but you're here, so you didn't lose completely yet. It's good to have you back, sir. Okay, let's spin the wheel of torture. Let me see what's going on. All right, let's take C off here. The wide sea of Necron. No, damn, I took Chris off. Chris, see what you did? Let me see, where's Z?
Why?
Or I already took him off. Okay.
Because you don't get a turn.
All right, you're back on. It's spinning, it's going. We got Mexican pizza. What the hell is this? Damn it.
A Mexican pizza? I thought that was
It didn't
a
apply the
burrito.
changes. I swear. Somebody's screwing with me today. Here we go. All right, we got violence.
Progress to
Victor,
try and quit
Arthur,
it, you
Dundee.
friggin' changeling.
And Chris, it's your turn. Surprise, surprise. I love how this thing works. All right, Chris, tell us of your favorite vampire concept and why it is so.
Okay, so getting here a bit too early than I expected. Okay, I can do that. So Alucard was one of the flavors of Vlad that I wanted to share.
Bastard.
He's a glorious thing. What can I say?
Picture, please.
Now I suppose it's only fair that I proceed with the two other Vlad flavors of Vlad, with the first one, of course, being another Mr. Vlad Tepes or Dracula, the one from the Castlevania anime, because sweet load, this man, ooh, he gives me happy pants feelings. I would honestly, I don't know if I like him or Abridged Alucard more. Honestly, I don't know. He is glorious, and even his facial hair is far superior to Alucard, even when.
So he is in
Vlad.
Helsing.
He is,
This
I prefer
one,
Castle-
no. This is Castlevania.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
this is from
Thank
Castlevania.
you. Okay.
And I don't care what people say. I don't care about the blondie from Castlevania, which is Dracula. In Castlevania, this Dracula has a son who is called Alucard, and he's a blonde little turd. Fuck him. He is not cool.
But that's debatable. With his sword familiar in wolf form.
Yes.
Okay.
So this here gentleman, he's the the OG vampire, the guy who basically spawned all the others from the world. And he is the strongest, most durable, with most powers like transformation, mind manipulation, super strength, and whatnot. Energy. I'm pretty sure he also knows magic and can throw fireballs at people.
Yep.
And other kinds of stuff. And I am not talking about the games. I have not played the games, not interested in them. But in the anime, he's glorious because he was a lone recluse who lives in his castle, full with all kind of advanced sciencey things. A castle that can teleport, mind you. And he is basically a shut-in, major shut-in, who decorates his lawn with impaled corpses until he finds love, which is I'm a sucker for love stories, and that love turns this recluse potential monster into a decent man who went on to travel the world to try and
Nice. Little bit of
befriend
Beauty and the
humans,
Beast.
become and coexist with them, and be a decent person. Then Christianity happened, accusing her of being a witch because she was using the scientific knowledge Dracula taught her, that being his wife, to cure people with medicine and stuff. So they accused her of being a witch, burn her house, and then burn her at the stake. And you can imagine what what losing someone you love does to a man. It turns them into a monster. In this case, this was I think only Satan was second. It was above this guy when it comes to how monstrous he was. Soon as that happened, you're like, okay, all you got one more year to live. After that, I'm wiping away humanity from the world. And literally crafting demons out of corpses and assembling a vampire army, all that nonsense. It was, ooh,
Nice.
extra spicy.
Yes,
And
sounds like
I'm
it.
not going to go into what happens in the second season of Castlevania. That is a must-see. I won't be spoiling anything, but this Dracula is by far an extremely tragic character that goes from mundanity to great joy and into a tragic fall, which is it's a glorious arc to follow.
I now feel what would happen if Saitama would go into a situation like that.
So Chris, is he the
Saitama would be unstoppable.
Is this the
Yes,
protagonist?
that is literally his gimmick.
Is he the protagonist of the show?
Oh no, he's the main antagonist. Did you miss the part where he wants to wipe away humanity?
I got that. I think I just missed a little bit of the beginning there.
Yeah, it's hard not to root for him because,
Right.
I mean, would you not in his position?
No, I would not try to wipe away humanity. It's horrible. As what
Maybe
they
not
did to
humanity,
that
but certainly certain large individual groups.
Mm. And so, to wrap up the trio of lads,
That's fine.
the next Vlad is going to.
Hold on, Chris.
Yes?
So, just let me address this guy first.
Yes.
Not dress, because he does look dressed. So,
Oh, he's awesome.
As far as his abilities, real quick, what abilities? What are his specifications?
Flight, shape-shifting to a ludicrous degree, magic, and by throwing fireballs and stuff. Super strength, super speed, hypnotization, regeneration, and all kind of nonsense. And he is overpowered enough to not care about the sunlight. And also the whole thing with crosses and religious symbols. The only things those do is piss him off because it's the people who follow these religious idols that burned his wife at the stake.
Okay. And second question. You guys may be a little bit young, but still, many of you may have played the original Castlevania games on Nintendo and such. Now, because it seems this is all spanning from Japanese lore, probably from manga originally, right? From an old manga.
Yes, this is based on the Castlevania game series, which is made from Japan.
So which was first? Was it the game series or was it a manga?
I don't know if it has a manga.
I believe it was the game series.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it has a manga, but it has a pretty big game series.
And can you tell me if
there is a manga, then it's probably recent.
Is there then a link between the lores? Is it pretty consistent, or is it very different, or you're not sure?
And the consistency is portraying the characters. I would say. I would say that they nerfed Dracula in the anime a bit because he was way too insane in the games because he constantly keeps coming back to life with bullshit ways.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular instance, I'd say in terms of they made the story more grounded and realistic, while the characters remained the same in terms of character.
Okay. All in all, this the story arc here, well, especially with this character, it does sound a little bit more interesting to me than Helsing. Helsing sounds like a fun ride, but there's some depth to this one.
You should watch.
You need to
Hellsing.
see both
Hellsing.
to understand, to compare
Yes.
them, I guess.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Any comments or questions for Chris on the first one there?
So, Chris, I should probably watch season 2 soon. Any idea when season 3 of Castlevania is coming out?
No idea.
There is, as far as I'm aware, there is no season 3.
That is sad.
I mean, well, actually, there could be a season 3 in about maybe a year.
They did leave a few loose ends untied.
Yes.
All right, Chris. Let's head to number 2.
Number 3, the
Number
third Vlad of the day, would be none other than His Majesty, the King of Darkness, Vlad von Karstein, head of the von Karstein
Ooh.
bloodline,
That's hot.
from Warhammer Fantasy. And you're not wrong in saying the guy is a notorious womanizer.
Hmm.
So, first we need to delve briefly into the history of undeath in the Warhammer world. So there was this one cunt Nagash that got chopped up by the Skaven's creation. Praise Skaven for saving the world.
Longer story, but yes, Nagash.
Yes, and he tried to make this necromancy ritual to kill everything on the planet and raise them as his undead servants. Because he promised the kings of his country, basically Egypt, that he'd make them immortal gods. So
That was those before him, but that was the promise.
yeah, so he fails miserably because he's a cunt, and all of them get raised as mummies. That's what the faction the Tomb Kings come. Now, one of Nagash's consorts, the Queen of Lahimia, I believe, Queen Neferata, she uses his studies to try and create a serum or potion of eternal life. And she technically succeeds, but in the process she invents vampirism and becomes the first ever vampire. So she's not a walking mummy or a sham. She is a vampire, basically.
But there's a few things that goes wrong, like typical vampire stuff, because Warhammer.
Yeah, and so she would bestow gift most trusted advisors and generals to make them stronger to be able to lead her wars. One of those generals was this magnificent bastard, who at the time had a more Egyptian-sounding name that I do not remember.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, he is about 6,000 years old, I believe. At the time, he defended
Beautiful.
his country. And then it got swallowed by the Sands and the other Tomb Kings that wanted to smash her because she helped the guy who turned them into mummies. So he fled. And he traveled the world, briefly settling in Kislev, which is like a mixture of the northern Slavic countries like Ukraine, Poland, and Russia. Where
I
he
thought
took
Finland was in there too somewhere.
possibly, where he took up the name Vladimir. And after some years after that, he also eventually migrated towards the Empire, which is basically Warhammer's version of Germany, and went specifically to the province of Sylvania, which is basically a mixture of the Balkans. You got Romania, Bulgaria, kind of Serbia, I guess, the vampire place. And so he presented himself in that time. He can, as he can alter his appearance. See, the way the vampires work in Warhammer, whenever they feed on blood, the more well-fed they are, they regenerate to look more human. So you wouldn't be able
Nice.
to distinguish a well-fed vampire from a regular human. However, if they starve themselves, eventually they begin looking more and more monstrous.
Okay.
And until this point, Vlad did his best to allure people to his side by being this ravishing young man who would then court the daughter of the, at the time, Elector Count of Sylvania. Uh, I don't remember his first name, Vondrak.
Okay.
And
Not
he
too
would
many
eventually,
details, Chris.
I'm sorry?
Not too many details, please.
Okay. So eventually, Count dies. Vlad becomes the new Count of Sylvania. He transforms his bride into a vampire's Lady Isabella von Karstein, and they are the
Nice.
best power couple. I love them. They're almost constantly together, um, captured in a eternal love of undeath. And so he began having aspirations of taking over the
Grandeur.
empire, being the yes,
Mhm.
and becoming the new emperor. Because no one really voted for him, he started raising the dead in Sylvania, amassing a army of zombies, ghouls, and all manner of creatures of the night. And he marched on to conquer the empire, which, because of a certain slightly less cuntish cunt than Nagash called Manfred, what a nerd, those plans kind of failed because screw Manfred, and he was beaten back and temporarily laid down. Now, Vlad is in Warhammer. The weak vampires are affected by sunlight, but the more powerful a vampire is, they can resist it or outright ignore it. And this is the case with Vlad and Isabella, because the way the bloodlines work is the more vampires they are. Whenever a vampire sires another one, the new vampire is slightly weaker than the original. So the more sires you have, the bloodline becomes weaker and weaker as the number of weak vampires increases. Um, and so in this particular instance, Vlad is at the very top of the food chain along with Isabel, as they are the strongest around.
OG vampires.
Yeah, so as a vampire, you can still build muscle mass, which over the course of thousands of years, he's
Oh
a
yeah.
beastly boy.
Okay.
He can also do magic in the field of necromancy and the lore of vampire, so draining victims from blood and other sort of vampiric curses and the like. In addition to being very strong, I think his sword was kind of special, but I don't know. He can regenerate, and that is his basic regeneration, but his most powerful tool, that you could say, was his ring, because he had this ring gifted to him by Neferata, his queen, where even if it would basically restore him to life from anything. So if say
A
he
free get out of jail card, so to
yes,
speak.
say if he were to get completely mulched, if his finger or a droplet of his blood made it to the inside of the ring would fully restore him. And that is kind of how Manfred screwed him over by hiring someone to steal the ring before the final battle at Old Door.
So,
Um,
Chris,
yes.
you did say things about his appearance and when they feed. So why does he appear so malnourished? Because he
Because
has
vampires.
no lack of
Well, after
dying
he
people.
secured his spot as a Elector Count, he basically reached the second most highest political pinnacle. The only other one would be Emperor, which it's politics. It's kind of hard. It was much easier for him to just force his way there. And when you're preparing to wage near constant war, looking terrifying is a lot than looking pretty. It's
sure. I
aesthetic
was
choice
also
on his part for
thinking
intimidation.
that he is, what, 6,000 years old, so that probably adds to it as well.
And also, he has been quote unquote killed a large number of times, but the ring has brought him back. That has
Okay.
visual notes. It's mostly the intimidation fact.
Victor,
Cognizant willingness to remain like this.
Victor, if you're not using the mic, if you can mute it, because there's some shuffling coming through. I hope you heard me. Cool, thank you,
he did.
Victor. Just
And
unmute it anytime you
specifically
need.
about the ring, it also plays a part in one of the like 3 things from the Warhammer End Times. So at the end times, where the world is going, Vlad's wife, Isabella, also gets killed, but then is brought back to life when a Nurgle demon possesses her and transforms her into a monster of pestilence and disease. So at the very end, Vlad grabs her, throws both of them off of a wall to be impaled on spikes below, but in the final moments, he takes off his ring and puts it on her. So he permanently dies, but she survives. With her quote unquote death, the demon is expelled, and then the ring brings her back. It's a touching romantic story, and I
Beautiful.
love it to bits.
So in the Warhammer universe, he basically would be the closest thing to Dracula, because he's not Dracula. They can't do that, but he
Yes.
would be the
He
closest. Yes?
basically is
Yeah, he's
Dracula.
basically yeah, he's basically
Okay.
the Dracula.
All right, so we've had 3 basically Draculas today. Actually, the other 2 were technically Draculas in their lore. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, awesome. All right, does anybody have any questions for Chris?
Actually, also I want to correct you on something.
Sure.
Dracula is actually public domain now. They actually had a Dracula appear once on the 1990s incarnation of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV series.
Yeah, I figured so. I said they couldn't do that because I don't think Warhammer would do it. But yeah, I was thinking it must be public domain by now. So yeah, thanks for clarifying that. A big shout out, guys. If you're starting projects out there, little projects, and you want it to sell and go, 2 big public domain things, Dracula and Cthulhu, that you can take advantage of. So keep that in mind. All right.
Think the way around.
Um,
They're going to take advantage of us.
Raincrawler, by the way, in our YouTube chat said, invisible vampire, he said this a while back, invisible vampire type like the blob, no form, that absorbs the blood of people, but every time he absorbs blood, he became reddish. But I don't know the name in English. So there's some
So
monster like that.
Crimson.
Cosmic Vampire.
In Spanish, it is El Vampiro Cosmico, or Robert
Cosmic Vampire.
Bloch, Lovecraftian creatures. Cool, thanks for sharing, Raincrawler. Anybody aware of that?
Nope, first time I'm hearing of it.
Beautiful. Something to Google. If somebody can Google an image of that here, and I'll proceed to continue this Monstercast. So,
Yeah, I do have 3 quick ones to talk about.
Chris, but you're going to have to make it snappy. Can you
will.
do it? Are you able to? This is a test on you. This is a test from us to see if you can make it indeed snappier than snappy.
Alright, shall I proceed to the next one?
Yes, let's go.
Okay, so the next one is the first, which is a very recent character fiction-wise that I adore, and being Shaltir Bloodfall. So Shaltir, I think I've mentioned her before when we were talking about vampires. She's from the anime, manga, and web novel called Overlord, where this guy who plays a MMORPG where your mind is transferred into it and they create their guild and dungeon. He plays in a guild full of people who roleplay as monsters. They make monstrous avatars, and they're all pay-to-win players, yeah, that type, that spend money to get all the OP items. And eventually they create themselves NPCs with which to guard their guild hall, which they model after a dungeon. And so Shaltir is the floor guardian of the first 3 floors of their guild hall, the Great Tomb of Nazarick. And she is one of the more peculiar characters because, unlike her creator, she takes after him, he basically min-maxed build to make her the most optimal fighting force in terms of gameplay. And in terms of aesthetics, he basically filled her with all of the fetishes ever, basically.
No, only
so
bad
she-
ones.
So she has the predominant one that she displays as a personality to everyone except her glorious overlord is a dominatrix type. That's kind of the falsehood in her visit because she looks like innocent little girl, and she would literally rip your innards and strangle you with them to make you submit. She also has a more true form, which is more monstrous. Let me see if I can actually find it. Yes, this here thing. This is the true vampire form that she has, and as a level 100 NP,
Beautiful.
extremely OP, she has a known as the Bloody Valkyrie, as she has a special armor that defends her from most damage, a weapon that sucks out the mana of other things she attacks and restores her health. She is a spellcaster that mostly specializes in summoning and buffing herself, so she can summon packs of creatures of the night and then buff either themselves or herself, or give herself extra buffs and heal herself by killing her own summons.
Okay.
And as the in terms of the levels, because the main character and the NPCs left and get transported into another world, eventually their levels reflect how powerful they are. And the strongest human in that world, at least that we have been introduced to thus far, he would be somewhere around level 35, while all of the NPCs and the main character are at max level 100. And the difference between from level 2 and from level 1 to level 2 is times 10. So you can imagine how the power scaling works there.
Okay.
And yes, this is in her full battle regalia. The
Nice.
Bloody Valkyrie.
What's
is
her name again?
Nickname. Shaltier Bloodfallen.
Alrighty.
Any
All right.
questions, or should I move on?
Move on.
2 more. Right?
So no questions?
Any questions, comments, guys? And welcome, Louis
None.
Zenadog, to our YouTube chat. Awesome to have you. All right, go on, Chris. We got a lot of people to go.
All right. Next up is Hikari Takanashi. Anime interviews with Monster. Where this one takes a bit of a different approach, where the quote-unquote monsters are technically human, they're just born with mutations. And she happens to be a vampire. Now, vampires can eat normal food, but as in the case with Helsing, I believe blood is what sustains them the most. And because of their heightened senses, they don't like strong smells. So that is why they don't like garlic and that type of stuff, because the strong smell actually.
Yes.
Well, she's the exception on that one. She loves garlic,
Yes, she adores
but she
strong
hates
smelling stuff.
tobacco.
That is true.
I'm going to write that down, and I'm going to get myself some nice cheese then.
And while she eats, she does have the munch on things. So you can see over there on the little side, that is her sister's arm, where her sister is just a normal human. It's just her that she's born with this mutation of being a vampire. She likes to just munch on stuff to scratch her teeth, you can say.
Uh-huh.
And,
Kind of like a rabbit or a mouse or a rat.
yeah, the religious symbolism and all that don't have any effect on the vampires in this universe. It was a superstition that got born through the Middle Age. Specifically about sunlight, vampires apparently absorb heat much faster, so they get hotter much faster, so they don't like the sun. And prefer
And they tan easily.
Yes. And she's just an adorable goofball.
Alrighty. Any questions, comments? What's her name?
Hikari Takahashi.
And she is from...
Interviews with Monster Girl.
Nice.
Another good anime,
Alrighty.
in my opinion.
Alright, proceed, Chris.
Now, if I'm to move on, I'm going to guess that Victor probably knows of cartoons about monsters episode. None other than Count Duckula. This is
Oh, I love Count Duckula. He was hilarious.
it was a blast from my childhood past. He was glorious. So basically, the people are birds in this universe, and Count Duckula, he is the latest one in the line of except he doesn't drink blood. He actually just eats vegetables because he's a proper vegetarian, not that nonsense from Twilight. And he's got his trusty maid who maintains his castle, Count Duckula. I don't remember her name. And you've got the vulture, Igor, who's like a very big fanatic to the family and wants to get Duckula to be more vampire-esque. Well, Duckula is just... kind of a goofball that just goes around and enjoys stuff. Again, if you stab him through the heart with a stake, like the Van Helsing goose type of thing that is technically his main nemesis in the series,
Nice.
walks out into sunlight, he would disappear. But otherwise, he's just a chill dude.
All right. Has anybody seen
that's-
Count Duckula?
Yeah, I loved it when I was a kid. Literally a
Awesome.
It
show.
was glorious, especially that outro.
So I think you cut out there, Chris. What did you say?
And I just laughed at the Victor's joke.
So, Chris, out of all these that you shared, which is your favorite then?
I'm gonna have to go with I'm gonna have to go with the Dracula from Castle. And I
Castlevania.
have to tie him together with Alucard from Helsing. Afterwards, as in order, we've got Vlad von Karstein, Shaltier, and Count Duckula.
They would be a good pair as protagonist and antagonist, it seems. Helsing and that Dracula from Castlevania.
Hunting yourself.
Right?
Oh, Procrastitron, if you're still here, you should do the me. Trust no one, not even yourself. The Castlevania Dracula and now.
So, Louis Zenidog mentioned, or he said Spirit Drinker, Soul Reaver, etc. Are those considered vampires?
I do not know those people.
Louis, if it's a drainer of some sort, because there are energy vampires and such, that will count. That can certainly be discussed in the topic, especially if we're talking about our
that
favorites.
counts, I have an entirely new kind of favorite vampire.
Succubi.
Should it count? So, yeah, the
Star
term vampire
vampires.
is a very loose vampire, and I guess we can keep it loose for today, but no problems in keeping it sort of classical.
If you permit me, since we are not meant to talk about specific vampires but concepts, I do have a concept for one of the novels I'm writing about how vampires work. Specifically, they're split into two. You have the vampires and the proper vampires, where the vampire, it's a living creature, or it's kind of a disease slash transferable mutation, which can be done to any creature and enhances their capabilities to the absolute extreme. Speed, strength, senses, and all that. And because of this, they don't go out into. They can regenerate a lot. However, they don't go out into the sunlight because their skin absorbs solar radiation at an accelerated rate, causing them to develop cancer and burning away their skin. That's why they don't go into the sunlight.
Mm-hmm.
And the same with why they don't eat actual food. When they eat actual food, that causes their organism to be overwhelmed by how how well digested everything is. It just overwhelms the bloodstream, which is why they instead drink blood where the food is more filtered, you could say, so that they can actually consume it properly. And vampires are basically vampires resurrected into undeath.
Okay. What's your novel called?
Still don't have a name for it.
Good. That might be a good thing. Raincrawler says Raziel, I'm not sure how to Raziel pronounce that. From Soul Reaver, him and his brothers, they became more than vampires. Great story. Soul Reaver. Are you guys aware of Soul Reaver?
Nope.
Not quite. Okay.
So I would have to excuse me for a little bit. I spilled some cough syrup, so I need to wipe that up. Be right back.
Alrighty, Chris. We're going to proceed to the next person then. All right, guys. Let's spin that wheel. Let's see. Okay. Here we go. I hope you guys are still ready. You've got the energy in you. Okay, Dande Pro, Procrastitron, go ahead and share your favorite ones. And you guys in the text chat on YouTube, go ahead and keep sharing your favorite ones. I'll be reading those off. Try to keep it to one, guys, please. We got a lot of people to get through. So, no, still there. Procrastitron is typing. Let's see what you got, Procrastitron. Okay. Last time, by the way, guys, Procrastitron, if you weren't watching the show, we were talking about dragons, and he had a great dragon, which was a vampire dragon, which works for today as well. It's a cool concept. All right, Pro. Anytime you're ready, I'll read it off, or you can speak. Oh no, come on. Just like Procrastitron. Well, let's see what he says here. Only for today, Edward. He is the husband. I'm not reading this. Okay. So Procrastitron listed off Edward from Twilight, the Sparkly Vampire. His abilities include telepathy, super speed, super strength, and is a skilled fighter. To be fair, there were some cool things. Other than lore, plot holes, and just silliness of vampires staying in high school and being hundreds of years old silliness that I find obscure, there were certain decent aspects. The whole sparkliness thing, I mean, that was sort of original. That was interesting to see, but I think that's enough about that. There are fans of this and haters because of the classic vampire view. What are your guys' thoughts and voice here in chat? How do you feel about Twilight vampires? Let's not get in too much into the silliness, just what they are, their abilities. Any thoughts?
Muda, 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 muda.
Any other thoughts? John says best vampire. I'm not sure if he's being sarcastic. Okay, Pro, so I guess that's your turn for today. Thank you for sharing. No thoughts. Everybody's quiet on Edward.
If you don't have anything nice to say, you shouldn't say anything.
Let's see what they say on YouTube. Thank you, Rain. Thank you all. I always found it kind of confusing. Demons. Okay, not talking about Edward, though. If they had a different name, different thing. Yeah, I mean, imagine... I hope you guys have seen one of the greatest vampire movies, which is Interview with the Vampire. Excellent movie. Have you guys seen it? Come on,
I
people.
have not.
You're not that old. Young. Gargamel, you've seen it, right? I know you have. The silence is golden. Super OCD, you've seen Interview with the Vampire? Come on. Okay, John has. What's with the silence here? Come on, folks. No one has seen it, apparently. Well, anyway, it's a great movie. I could see, like, Edward, a character like this, being in that movie without certain, silliness that exists in Twilight. I mean... it can work. So Twilight can be redone. Edward's character can be redone in a better fashion, I think. So it's not a hopeless disaster. What do you guys think? Anything? Victor? Nobody wants... The Twilight has muted everybody, apparently. Let's see. Thank you. Louisiana
Well, I
Dogs.
would probably talk about it a little bit. I'm not sure I would hate it as much as people think, because I've never actually seen it. A lot of people don't like it because they think like it's boring and stuff. And from what I understand, it kind of is. But I can't really complain too much about Twilight because I haven't seen any of the Twilight movies.
Okay, good. And that's fair. Did you hear me earlier, Gargamel? Have you seen Interview with the Vampire? Gargamel? Gold? Mr. Gold?
I've heard of it. I have not seen it.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. Alrighty. Alright. Okay. Well, anyway, guys. Shout out to Interview with the Vampire. One of my favorite true vampire movies out there. If you guys haven't seen it, I think you'll be pleasantly entertained. Okay, you guys are missing out on a great story. Check out the Legacy of Kain series when you have the time, Louis Zenadog says. Do you guys know the Legacy of Kain series? Raincrawler says, Louis, I think that Soul Reaver will make an amazing movie. I think Castlevania will make an amazing movie. They need to make a good Castlevania movie. All right, proceeding then. Thank you, Procrastitron. You've silenced our chat. I guess that's a success of its own. Wow, so
sorry, I just don't have very much to say on vampires.
Hey, Bog is here.
Rod?
Welcome, Bog. Bog, do you want to turn the chat today? Or you're okay to just listen in?
Well, you know what? I have a few things to say.
Okay, I'll put you on the wheel.
Vampire.
Hold on.
Would either have to be. Oh.
Yes, you have to be put on the wheel of torture. That's how things go. We got to keep it fair. Glad to have you here nonetheless.
Okay.
So Procrastitron, you are being genuine on this, so you do like Edward, this vampire, and this story, apparently. Okay, you are not trolling, you're not messing around. That's how we take it. So everybody, Procrastitron's favorite vampire is Edward from Twilight. All right, continuing. Spinning the wheel of torture. It seems... All right. Dante, Gargamel, Dante, Pro, Bog. Super OCD, it is your turn. Let me take people off here. Super OCD, can you hear us? Let me take Pro off. Oh boy. I was afraid of this. Please speak up, Super OCD. You're welcome to. Just tell us precisely who it is.
Maybe she's just shy.
She was on voice, and now she's gonna type it in. Okay, so I'll read it for her. All right,
She doesn't like to be on this show for some reason.
She says, my vampire type is sort of made up. It's a fusion of two curses, lycanthropy and vampirism. Sounds great. Anything to add to it, Super OCD? And what do you guys think of that idea? That's not.
I think it's unusual. Yeah.
I would like to see that in action.
Well, actually, you know what? They did have in the what is it?
Underworld.
Underworld. Yeah, they had that. That a character that was a mixture of a vampire and a werewolf.
Right. That's like, it's a mix of both, but like in a same staying form. But yeah, it would be interesting to see it kind of work out with the still having the transformation and the vampirism and the full werewolf form. That'd be cool to see. What are you saying, Bog, there?
In the Underworld series, they actually had two different variations of that: a vampire that got werewolf blood, and werewolf that got vampire stuff. The werewolf that got vampire stuff was significantly less ugly.
Oh, which one was that? Because I mainly remember the one from the first movie at the end, right? I think referred to as Abomination.
Hello?
Yes, we're here.
I
Mostly.
apologize for being late. There was a spider which I needed to murder. Mission successful.
No worries. So...
Also,
Was it a vampire spider?
Procrastitron posted that. You sick bastard. Why did you bring up Tinkerbell in the place about...
Bog, do you want to add anything there? What were you saying?
Onto the whole vampire and werewolf things from Underworld?
Yes. So you
know, if you stack that in D&D, you can get some pretty good damage output.
For sure. Can you let me know which movie is the one that...
my trap card.
Can you let me know which movie is the one that had the werewolf with the vampire edition? Not the first movie?
I think it was the second one. I'm not sure if there's 3 movies. Is there 3 movies? It might have been the third.
There's 3 or 4.
I think there are 4 Underworld movies.
Yeah, there's 4.
It's been a while since I watched them. A long while.
Okay.
Okay, well,
all right.
Prequels. The prequels are a different story.
So, quick update, Chris. Procrastitron let us know his favorite vampire, which is Edward from Twilight.
Tinkerbell.
And Super OCD introduced, she just wanted to share an idea of a fusion of the two curses of lycanthropy and vampirism. Now,
What Underworld was cool.
I like the other were creatures besides werewolves. Werewolves are a little overdone. Englishing is hard today.
they are very common. Okay, let's spin the wheel. Let's get the next person going here. Okay, here we go. We got Gargamel, Donde, Victor, Dio, Arthur, Donde, Bog. Bog, it's your turn. Please let us know your favorite vampire concepts out there.
I really like
It's not so easy.
That's really a difficult one.
They can be monstrous or humanoid.
As far yeah, Strahd's pretty great. He's pretty all right. He's cursed to be stuck in this land, and people are miserable because of it, and it's just a terrible place. And he wants to be able to die, but he needs to find a successor who can take up the curse in his stead. But it has to be someone he actually sees as a worthy successor, a worthy heir. And he has high standards.
And who are you speaking of?
Strahd.
And from what lore?
What about me? I heard Chris.
And then, of course, there's Dio from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
Okay. So which one
And the
is
Pillar
your
Man.
top and why? Top choice for today.
Oh, man. Probably just the Pillarmen from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures because of just how over the top they are. Also, one's named AC/DC.
Uh-huh.
The Pillarmen. Let me see. Let me write that out just so I can get a image of it.
There are 4 Pillarmen in JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, but they're the last surviving beings of their kind, and they all have a unique ability that they specialize in. One of them makes their blood boil and shoots it out at people and shit. Another one makes bone things that can shoot pressurized air and shit. And then the last one has chainsaw bones that come out of his arms and legs and shit.
Okay. Sounds fun. All right.
Then the last one just absorbs things.
Any other fans here of JoJo or these vampires that Bog has mentioned?
No.
I know Dio
No,
is out
I don't
there.
watch a lot of anime, guys.
Yeah. We had a lot today.
Hey, I read that shit.
Apparently Procrastitron is. If Dio's still around, I know Dio's a fan. And I had a comment lately on YouTube recommending I check out JoJo's Adventures, so we'll see. So you guys that talked about anime today and stuff, you don't know much about JoJo or don't recommend it?
I just don't like it.
Gotcha. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Any questions for Bog? Any other words, Bog, that you wanted to share with us?
One more.
Okay, let's go.
Take a dragon and then make it a vampire dragon, and
Okay.
then just watch it as everybody decides that it's not worth living anymore.
Beautiful. And that was Procrastitron's favorite dragon last week's show was a vampire dragon. So, nice. Well done last week, Procrastitron. This week, Joseph is best vampire. Best Joseph. Oh, okay, whatever that means. Let's go. Let's spin the wheel. Let's go to the next person. Let's take Bog off. Thank you, Bog, for sharing. Thank you for showing up today. All right, here we go. It is Gargi, John, Arthur, Victor, Phonics, Gargi, and Dio. Dio, it is your turn. Go ahead and write out your Procrastination. Don't make me do it. Come on. Donde, if you're fed up, go ahead and do what you can do. So Dio, please type out your favorite vampire. Dio's typing. Okay, Dio's typing. Okay, let's see the next one. Let's take a look at our chat on YouTube. Very true, Rain. Totally awesome. Okay, Louis said, for those of you that don't know, a vamp wolf is called a Vulcan. Vulcan. Depending on the pronunciation.
I would like to pet this creature.
So that's interesting. A vampire wolf, a Vulcan. I wonder what lore you're referring to there, Louis, or if it's actually legendary. Thanks for sharing that, though. We should take a look into that. Raincrawler, if you do find out more about it, let us know. And let me catch up with Dio here. Thank you, Dio, for sharing. Dio Brando. He wants to kill... So I'm reading for Dio here. I'm sharing for Dio, who is formerly known in our Monsterhood as Piccolo. And I'm sorry, I didn't introduce everybody. We got a late start today, so I didn't have a chance to introduce everybody. But everybody is on the left here. You will see these names recurring every week. Many of them recurring every single week.
Sometimes I'm busy.
And some of them, yeah, not every time, but these are the folks of our voices. For Monstercast. So I'm speaking for Dio now, and Dio is, of course, sharing Dio. So Dio Brando, he wants to kill all members from the Joester family. He freezes people, shoots laser beams out of his eyes, and can regenerate, and he has supernatural strength, of course. Later in Stardust Crusaders, he is called Dio and uses his stand, the world, to fight when he says, the world, or Zauvarudo. He stops time for 10 seconds. It's a very strong ability. He fights against Jotaro, or Yotaro, with it, but he sadly loses and blows up because Yotaro breaks his stand.
Jotaro.
Is it Joe? Is it J or yeah?
J.
It is
It's
J.
Joe.
Okay,
That should be the hint.
that's true. Jotaro breaks his stand, and he has a form that is in game. It's called Ascended Heaven Dio. He can rewrite reality, and yeah, he's from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, and he's the antagonist. So here are some
have never, in all of my time, JoJo's Bizarre Adventures has never. It has always been one of those titles that just gets my. Oh, it's gonna be one of those animes.
I appreciate the memes, but I'm not interested in.
It sounds interesting, but then again, when you look at it, it looks different than all these other takes we've been looking at.
Yeah, the story and fights are supposed to be very intense thinking-wise, but the art style just turns me off a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Dragon Ball, the second main reason I disliked the art style. First one being Mr. Overhyped.
Right. That's a little bit of the feeling I got here. It is different. It's like very...
You're forgetting about holy shit.
It has good memes. That's what I said.
Does JoJo take place on a whole different world, or is it still on Earth?
It has
Still
not
ordered, but
ceased.
across history.
Sorry, Chris?
As in every it takes place on Earth, but across history, as you have different generations
Oh, okay, gotcha.
of the Joe Star family. So before we proceed,
It
I would
also
just
takes
like
place
to,
in a
if
couple
you
of
allow me,
alternate dimensions, basically parallel dimensions.
Also, if you allow me, before we proceed to the next person, I would just like to one an honorable mention in honor of Vampire Day. One I think we can all relate to. That is all.
Okay.
Proceed.
Let's see. Dande said, "What is JoJo?" Well, JoJo is a vampire, right? After all.
No,
Procrastination
JoJo is
says
not a vampire.
he's not. So what is JoJo himself?
Just a
He's
guy.
a human with a strange sort of psionic ability called a stand.
Oh,
It's
okay.
basically a physical manifestation of his soul.
Right. And that does sound pretty interesting, indeed. Let's see. Procrastination says he loves the style, the art style. Okay. Okay, Preachy Mink is here too. Thank you for sharing, Preachy Mink. I don't see you in the voice cavern, so I'm not sure if you can hear us. Apparently you can hear us. Is that correct? You're just not visible? Yes, he can hear us. Or he's typing. Let me read on the Preachy Mink's behalf here real quick, so and then we'll continue to the next person. We'll let you do the shout out after I get everybody through, Chris, if
I've
that's all
already
right.
posted it. People are
Oh, you
free
did.
to look at it.
Okay. So let me go through here and catch up. So let me read on behalf of Preachy Minks. Person. Okay, Ims. Okay, I'm just throw mine in because I'm not gonna be able to attend casts. So here, Lord Harken is a Nord vampire, the leader of Volkihar clan in Elder Scrolls Dawnguard, and the primary antagonist regardless of the side taking during Bloodline. A powerful vampire lord, Harken rules his brood with an iron fist. He will stop at nothing to achieve his goals, even if it means the estrangement of his own family. Harken is one of the few individuals in Tamriel capable of granting pure blood vampirism, and that's a lovely vampire right there. Thank you for sharing, Preachy Mink. I approve. A pretty monstrous vampire indeed, and quite classy. Beautiful. Did you guys know of this one?
Yep. It was delightful to stab him in the face.
Nice. And Chris shared another one. So the little video you shared is the other one, Chris? Oh, yes, of course.
Yep.
The Count. We cannot forget the Count. Count
That is true.
Dracula. Love it. Love the pun creation. All right. Let's, anybody else here? And apparently, I think Mink can't hear us, maybe. So whichever. But his information got shared. Let's spin the wheel, folks. Let's see which vampire will make out with which vampire.
In the meantime, I have a question. Did you look up the pictures of the Pillarmen?
I did. I saw a bunch of stuff, but I wasn't sure which particular thing. So if you have something particular, please share it. Because I just saw a bunch of barely dressed humanoids. So I wasn't sure what to share.
Really buff? You mean really buff vampires with
Yeah.
strange abilities? Yeah.
Alrighty. So Louis Zenadog on the topic of Vulcan, which is a vampire wolf, he said the name Vulcan derives from vampire and lichen name combo. Oh, okay. It is voted, and Vulcan was the name chosen, so that's why it's called Vulcan. Voted where? On your channel or something? And shout out to Louis Zanadog. He does have a little YouTube channel, and he shares his the various concept artwork of creatures. It's pretty cool, actually, so I recommend you guys go check him out. He's been a viewer of ours for a long time, and a dear friend of ours. So, shout out to Louis. Would still be called hybrid. There are many. Yeah, I wonder who voted that up, Louis. Okay, let's proceed. So we have a picture here of Pillarmen, the perfect bodies. Very Greek. Alrighty. Best effects. Okay, here we go. Let's spin. Did I spin or not? Oh, I did spin, and it's on me. Okay, guys, I'm going to keep it short as I can, as usually. Let me apply the changes. Okay, so what I wanted to mention, and let's see if there's an image of it first of all. I will type it out.
Wait a second. Where's the fourth one? Where's the inferior boy?
We don't mention that one.
What do you speak of? Okay, I think there we go. We do have an image. Okay, so my image or my vampire, because I have made a video of my favorite monstrous vampires. And to shout them out, we have Dracula. I forgot which year. Ah, yes, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I do like the conception there very much. It was practical effects. I do like the conceptions in the Underworld as far as Dracula goes. The wings, the more I like the whole baddish kind of vampire baddish face kind of applied concept instead of like a humanoid nose and such. So I like that one. I like the one from Van Helsing is decent too. It's probably the biggest, bulkiest one, as everything is bulky in Van Helsing. It's very nice too. But today I would like to shout out another one that I haven't mentioned yet. And I'm doing this because I did make a little rant video on Hellboy and said what I disliked or whatnot. But there is something...
Thank you for shouting me out in that one.
Subtly. And Chris, again, did you even watch it? Because...
Yes, I watched the full thing despite you telling me not.
Oh my. Okay, well...
Okay, I get where you're coming from. I disagree with a few points, but I get.
All good then. I figured you'd be the one that would understand. I don't know about others out there, but
You're right back.
Anyway, so what I do want to shout from that movie out is the vampirish creature that is actually at the start of the movie, and it looks like this. Wow, that's long.
Yes, when I saw it, I was pleased to see it. It looked very inspired from Van Helsing from 2004.
Indeed.
Vampires.
Indeed.
So glorious.
I chose this one, guys, again because Pro, I'm gonna kick you if you do one more time. Sorry, buddy. Okay, so I chose this one because once again, it's a monstrous vampire form. He's got the wings, he's got the crazy face, beautiful ears. The face is all right in my opinion as far as the concept. I like others maybe more, but I love the big ears, bat type ears. You even have the webbed area underneath his armpit, if you notice. I like those little details, the claws. Lovely vampiric monster. Always appreciate it. Pretty awesome. Well done,
and
CGI.
The best part is, he was a luchadores. Yes.
Correct. Chris, I got to shout out. Baba Yaga looked amazing in the movie. They did her one of the best. I'd say.
For her movement scene, they actually the head actor, but for the movement of her body, they got an actual like circus gymnast, someone with very flexible ligaments to move around like that. You know, the type of people that fit into boxes and do all sorts of weird body positions that should normally not be possible. That's why she looks so authentic.
What did you say at the start? Because you cut out a little.
For her movements, is they like a gymnast from like a circus.
Okay.
The type of person whose ligaments are not hardened like most adult people. You know, the type of gymnast that can fit themselves into boxes or make very strange twisty positions with their body. That's why her movements look so natural, because they were actually being done naturally by a person.
Yep. And that was awesome. So anyway, that's my shout out. Since I did rant on the movie a bit, I wanted to shout that out. I thought that was a great thing to pull out of the movie. Again, the conceptions and monsters in the movie are awesome. It's just a matter of how it's entertaining you personally. So shout out to that vampiric monster from my side. Let's spin the wheel. Louis said that the Vulcan name came up in a Facebook vote. I wonder if that's from our Facebook group or maybe your Facebook group, Louis. Raincrawler, you said you remember that. Let me know. So I'm assuming that's from the World of Monsters Facebook group, which is even more bad that I don't remember. I am bad, Arthur, today. All right, here we go. Spinning the wheel. of torture. Not really. Quite the opposite. It's Super OCD's turn. I forgot to remove her. So Super OCD, everybody, a moment of silence for Super OCD. That's what that means. Sometimes she may honor us with some sounds. That's why we do it. Spinning the wheel. Victor! You are victorious. Please share with us your favorite vampire. Victor? Can you hear us, Victor?
I am uncertain.
All right. We'll keep it... I'll call him out at least so he knows when he comes back. Turn. Alrighty. Let's spin the wheel of vampirism. We'll take Victor out. Interesting to hear what he's going to share. He seems to be quite the fan of vampires as well. Alright, spinning. We got 4 people left. Donde, John, Phonix, Gargamel, Donde! Donde, you have won. Please, let us know. Which is your favorite vampire concept? Okay, and let's take him off. Three to go after that, guys. Is C still around? Oh, C left. He left again without saying goodbye.
Oh, Z, you asshole.
I'm going to have to catch him on that next time. We don't leave this place after putting so much love, heart, feels into this place and then just disappear. By the way, Chris, did you call out Z on your...
I just sent him a message.
I mean, before, did you call him out for your hierarchy above him? And his secret info you know about him?
No, I think he left because getting... Yeah, Z apparently is quote-unquote tired and short-fuse temper, it seems.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
This is all me speculating because he hasn't replied to me.
Okay.
I'm waiting on a reply as to why he left.
I'm just asking you about the stuff we talked about previously, if you remember. About you having a rank over him and some information over him.
I won't be, what's its face? I won't be rubbing it in, so to say.
Okay, you won't. Not yet, at least.
The moment is not correct.
Good. All right, Donde. Donde's turn. I'm going to read for him. Thank you for sharing, Donde. Thank you for being patient. Donde says, my favorite vampire is Count Chocula. Just kidding. Okay, thank you. The one I'm going to share today is an anime that takes place during the Vietnam War on an American base. The film is short, but it's very good. It's called Blood, the Last Vampire. The story has a few vampires in it, which are called Chiropterans. They disguise themselves as humans and oftentimes lure them and drink their blood. They need lots of blood and they mate to have more. In addition, the only way to kill a Chiropteran is to make it bleed lots of blood in one blow. Minor wounds won't do it, but larger ones will. Okay, so it seems they heal very quick. Once they've been injured, they'll result into their normal forms and try to fly to escape. Okay, so they fly as well. There is also another vampire in it, and it's the main protagonist, or anti-hero, Saya. She's the Japanese-looking girl who mysteriously shows up and wields a katana. She is considered one of the original vampires and possibly the last of her kind. She holds humans in contempt, and she is used to hunt down. She is used to hunt down the Chiropterans. Final shout out, as I am not sure anyone would mention them. Vampirella also is another neat vampire and blade. All right. Shout out to Blade and Vampirella. So the movie, the short anime film, right? Yes, is called Blood the Last Vampire. So something for you guys to check out. It does sound intriguing. Any thoughts about it?
Back again.
Why did you leave?
Yeah. Well, I'm back
has-
now.
He has been
Well,
called out, so
welcome,
don't worry.
C. Welcome back, C. I was just saying that if you're gonna leave, leave us with a nice goodbye at least.
I said be right back.
Oh, you did? Okay, we missed that.
Oh, did not hear that. Sorry.
It's all good. All right. So thank you for sharing, Dande. Definitely something to write off. Victor, Chris, I think you guys haven't seen that one, so maybe something to check out. All right. Victor, if you're there, go ahead and share. Are you in voice, Victor, or will you write it out? If you write it out anytime, and I will read it for you. All right, proceeding. Well, Victor's posting some images, so let's see what he's posting. It looks like Morbius in the first one.
Morpheus. Oh yeah, that Morpheus is a boss character. I much preferred him in the 1990s Spider-Man animated series. Great, gave me nightmares, and of course, Blade is always awesome.
So here's Morbius, the living vampire. I've been a fan of him a bit as well. I never got too deep into him, but I started collecting the cards and stuff. I like the idea. The living vampire. All right, so I think that'll be on. Who's the second person that he put an image up of?
That is Blade.
Oh, that is Blade from the comic. Oh, okay, cool.
Both of them actually eventually team up to go hunt Dracula together, as well as
Nice.
Blade's mom.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
also a
Blade
vampire.
is of Marvel. I forgot. That is a pretty cool team up. I'd like to own that series. These are all right in my opinion. Nothing too spectacular though. Any other thoughts about these guys? I just like the classical, almost say generic look of Morbius. The whole outfit, the red, black, blue. It's cool. He stands out. Very clear as to what he is in the comics. So, cool. Shout out to Morbius. Any other fans of Morbius or Blade? Or the beautiful works of Del Toro within Blade that he later kind of presented us again to us with the Strigoi of the strain. So, well, let's continue. Let's see what Gargamel's. I have a feeling Gargamel might mention something along those lines. So let's take out, we have Phonics, John, and Gargamel. Let's do this. All right, we're spinning the wheel. And the Raincrawler said, Morbius of Marvel obtained his vampiric abilities through an experiment, not by supernatural means. Thank you for sharing that. Cool. So I didn't know.
He basically tried to analyze Spider-Man's DNA,
Mm-hmm.
but then a vampire bat flew into the
Of
ray
course.
beam thingy bob that he was using on the blood. It drank from the blood. Now that it was zapped by this sciencey magical ray, then bit Morpheus and turned him into a vampire. That
Nice.
sucks blood through his hands.
Through his hands. Okay. All right. Awesome. Thanks for the clarity on that. Let's see. Raincrawler says the vampires from Blood, the last vampire anime movie, they communicate by a high screech and they have a beastly appearance. Excellent. Love both of them, Raincrawler. Definitely an animated checkout. Short film. I wonder how long it is. An hour? Maybe under an hour? Good movie. Obtained his vampire. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. And Gargamel, it is your turn, sir, to sparkle.
You
Please
might
don't.
be surprised, but I'm not mentioning the Strigoi. I
Cool.
didn't. The one vampire I was gonna actually thought of was Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay, let's
I'm
get.
gonna post a picture of him saying, he's that one that, was Buffy's boyfriend for a while before he became evil again, had to be saved, with the whole curse where if he's has a moment or two happiness, he loses his soul.
Mm-hmm.
And he was given his soul by gypsies as a punishment for killing their daughter.
Okay.
Fucking gypsies.
And
I'm
why
gonna
did?
post a picture of him right now.
Okay, I got one in his more terrifying form. So 3, 6, 9. Cool. We got 12 people on right now in voice. Looks like we're just more ugly. And that's a plus, Theo, I think. Today. So why did you choose him, Gargamel? Out of all the vampires, why did you specifically choose him today? I guess he's busy with that. Does anybody know of this vampire and details on the show?
I am aware of him. I liked the show when I
Okay.
in decade. Don't remember much. The only prominent thing I remember from that show was this one. They thought fast food joint was making meat out of cats or humans, but it turned out it was an old lady with giant worm on her head that came out of her head and ate people.
Oh, well,
I didn't need to know that.
I think I needed to know that. Nice. I like that. Okay, so there we go. Angel and Buffy when Angel is in human form. Yeah. Okay, so see, he's a nice, elegant guy. Then he goes grotesque and he becomes this.
Yeah,
Nice
when he's
little
about to feed, he goes grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
Because, or if a cross, crosses affect him. And Buffy's an unusual universe because it seems that in the Buffy universe, interesting thing about Buffy is that both Christianity and paganism are true, which are kind of contradictory because,
Holy symbols in general?
well, crucifixes in general hurt him.
Mm-hmm.
Implying that the Christian God in the Buffy universe is true, but then also other gods are, which goes against, the Bible and Christianity. So it's it's kind of confusing in that regard.
But most of the Egyptian gods were rewritten.
Rewritten in what?
In the Bible.
Yeah,
in the Bible,
but in
you
the
have
Bible,
Osiris.
in the Bible,
angels.
Yeah, well, in the Bible though, if you actually read the Bible, the God of the Bible is the only God. Then again, if you actually in Buffy, it's a completely different universe because in Buffy, it's not it says in the Bible or in what we would say is evolution. There was the world began as hell and everything was demons. So it's its own universe, but there are some contradictory things about the Buffy universe.
Mm-hmm. You're right. So, Gargamel, comparing to other vampires, why did you choose him? Is there something specific about his character?
Because I loved Buffy the Vampire Slayer when it was on the air, and also I loved Angel, the series.
Gotcha. Okay. So did Louis. Louis Zenadog also enjoyed it quite. I will say that the subtle practical effects on him when he does go wild are pretty nice. We have the wrinklage and the forehead there, contacts, of course. Nice small tooth changes as well as the large the fangs, but also the middle teeth are reshaped. So cool little details here and there. Not bad.
I have a feeling it's a mixture of practical effects and computer effects because the transformation sequence, seems like something that'd be kind of difficult when they're doing practical effects, even, because even though it's not that complicated, it's still it would be instantaneous if it was done kind of with practical effects. I think.
I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming the transformation probably is CGI because that's just
Yeah.
in some ways.
Well, it was
yeah,
in the
easier for 'em.
1990s, so CGI was not as good back then as it is today.
Sure.
1990s and very early 2000s.
Thank you for sharing that. How about a vote, guys? How about Edward or Angel? What is your vote, since they're kind of more of the humanoid ones today? Not including Blade. Angel,
I prefer
Edward.
the I like
Angel.
the vampires who actually look like dead creatures rather than just plain
Right.
monstrous. Like
Right,
still elegant and suave, but you notice that their skin is deathly pale, the blood red eyes, the just nobility of the night, death
Yes.
walking among you. That kind of aesthetic is what I like most.
I just love my skeletals.
So anything closer to skeleton is probably better for you, Z, right?
Of course.
Indeed. That's something I forgot to and didn't even mention, because when I mentioned vampires, I mentioned monstrous. And when I mentioned monstrous, I mentioned that bat form monster looking vampire. I didn't take into account the undead ones like you mentioned, Chris, with more of the zombie-ish lich kind of faces. And that's certainly monstrous as well. So I should make a whole nother, maybe I'll make another video of like my favorite or the best kind of undead, well, you know what I mean. That kind of
You
vampire
mean like
version.
I recommended already?
Yes, because I do very much like those as well. Victor, let me take a look at what you said. Actually, if you really read the Bible, it says you won't have any gods before God. Not that there aren't others out there. Well, of course, the Bible likes to do things like that.
Basically railroading you into going only after the
The
other.
more you read about the Bible, the more sense it makes.
Exactly.
It's funny.
Now, Victor, you did share something I'd like to shout out as well, and that's Nosferatu.
I don't want to argue with you, Z, and I don't want to offend religious people, but you can come across a lot of atheists who will tell you that the more you read from the Bible, the less sense it will make.
Right.
That is
That
correct.
is fair.
Literally
I mean, I've
every
offended
religious
several
text is
communities
All
on
the
the internet. Probably.
contradictions that I learned about that aren't really contradictions according to my family.
To be honest, I thought Z was being sarcastic.
No, I was not.
No.
Yeah, I'm just plainly stating that the more you read the more you read into any religious text, the less sense it makes.
Yeah.
Well, the more you learn about something, the more sense it makes.
Well, that would normally be the case, I'd say, but that's enough of that for now. We can have a full
Let's not
Monstercast
talk
about
about
this
this.
further
It's
Yeah.
not.
on down the road.
Nosferatu, he was Count. What's his name? The Nosferatu, not Noctiluss. That's from Warhammer. Or was it Baron? I don't remember the Nosferatu vampire.
Forgot.
Count or a Baron?
I think you are referring to the Regul.
Mayhap.
I don't know. So, huge sound. I think Nosferatu was from I forgot the year now,
22.
22. Thank you, Chris. And I have to shout it out because as far as special effects go and just concepting for the time, he's awesome. The concept behind Nosferatu can be...
Yes. Count Orlok is the name.
Count Orlok is timeless. We can have a new Nosferatu movie and use the same special effects, just a little bit better done, but the concept, and it will just be as good. That's how good it was. You won't see much for that day and age. If you look at the oldest werewolf, which of course I've done the videos on, conceptions, they're not anything that spectacular or original, but Nosferatu, the creation, I'd love to do a whole video about him, just looking at the original designer, because that is something that has stood the test of time and will continue to do so, and seeing it in such an old movie looking like that makes it genuinely, in a way, just more creepy. The movie's not that scary, but just seeing it...
There's actually a comedy where a guy goes to, it's like in the early days of film, and a guy goes to Transylvania to make a movie to make that movie basically, and they end up finding a real vampire that looks exactly like the vampire Nosferatu, and they make him star in the movie, and and he actually goes around like killing like the camera crew and stuff, and like the director like complains. And I never saw it, but based on the trailer, it looked kind of funny.
I think you're not talking about what they do in the what we do in the shadows, are you?
No, this
Okay.
was a movie
Gotcha.
about a guy who goes to Transylvania to make a movie about vampires, and he meets a real vampire, and he convinces the real vampire to star in his movie.
Nice.
And it's supposed to be that they're making a silent film, so I think it's like a film that's like sort of like a fake story of how Nosferatu was made.
Yeah. That sounds pretty
And it's
fun,
a comedy.
actually. Yeah, that sounds fun.
It's a dark comedy though, because the vampire is, a vicious creature that's going around killing people.
Mm-hmm.
But he also wants to star in the movie that the guy's making.
Awesome. That does sound fun. By the way, guys, since he brought that up, I want to shout out what we do in the shadows. It was on Amazon. You can search that out. It's basically a reality movie filming how vampires are living together in this house, and it's pretty funny. There's a Nosferatu type vampire that's just too far from humanity that they keep that lives with them. It's pretty funny. It's an awesome little movie production. You guys should definitely check it out. What we do in the shadows, or what they do in the shadows, something like that. One more shout out, because we have Nosferatu, but there's a newer version of Nosferatu, and it's in Salem's Lot. And if you see the picture I just posted, it's basically Nosferatu, but with newer practical effects. You have the full contacts. Looks pretty cool. It was the first one to do that kind of fangs in the middle, where a lot of like producers try to do that again. It just looks goofy, because it is a little bit of a goofy concept, but it looks all right with Nosferatu. It gave him his character. And I think, if I remember correctly, when Guillermo did the Strigoi, the main master, he had those kind of fangs. So Guillermo did take some inspiration from that. And I did mention that in a video a while back, too.
One of the early variations of the Master had that kind of thing.
Yes.
I don't think he got...
See, Arthur, that is one thing I want to know about the latest Hellboy movie. Not every movie can be a guilt, unfortunately.
True. And no, that wasn't my issue. I wasn't comparing it. I was just going to going to see a fun ride, but it was just, for me, Chris, in short,
Not your type of fun.
the pacing was just way too quick for me. But I want to rewatch it and see how I feel, if I can handle it better next time. But that was one of the main things for me. It wasn't the lore itself. It was just the skipping around, things like that. It made it... I've never done a rant video, and I did it because I was excited to see it, especially after you talked about it, and then it didn't work out for me, and that's why I did it. If I just see a crappy movie, I wouldn't waste my time on that. Yeah. Okay. So there you have it, folks. Salem's Lot.
Movies.
Bog?
Speaking of crappy movies, I have a question.
Yes.
Have any of you guys heard about the movie Velocipaster?
Oh God, no.
Nope.
Tell us
God,
more.
Well, basically, it has this Catholic priest who has a tragic family accident or something and goes to China to connect better with his spirituality, because that's what Catholic priests do. They go to China to connect with their spirituality better. So then he ends up instead gaining the mystic powers to turn into a dinosaur.
Of course, the Chinese would know that kind of secret arts.
And he goes around killing people.
He gets it accidentally, and he ends up being convinced by a prostitute to use his powers for good. And he fights ninjas and evil.
I need to watch that movie now. It has dinosaurs, it has ninjas, it has everything I want.
It sounds like a film that's so bad it's good.
Yeah, it didn't even rely on CGI at all from what I saw of the trailer, which I can appreciate.
I'm going to spin the wheel. John and Phonics, you are the last two. So if you guys please share. Phonics, or if you guys are going to be in the text, go ahead and prepare your text. I will read it for you. Spinning the wheel of love. I don't know why I called it that now with 2 people left on it. That's really awkward. John. John, it is your turn. Are you going to join us on voice or typing? Looks like you're going to type it in. And Phonics, be ready to post yours afterward. If you guys can post images too, or not. Can't talk. Okay, ooh, these are looking beautiful. All right. He said, I wanted to talk about the different vampires in the Witcher lore. I love how there are several species that are taken from different folkloristic stories. They are divided into 2 main groups, lower vampires and higher vampires. Lower vampires are vicious and aggressive, like the Garcane or the Fleder, while higher vampires are more interesting. They too were generated by the conjunction of the spheres, but they are sensitive and they rarely enter in contact with humans. Each one of them is different. Some, like I don't want to say Regis, because that is too... Okay, Regis or Regis, are highly smart and friendly towards humans. Others, like the Unseen Elder, are instead aggressive towards everything that dare disturb his resting. Vampires in the Witcher universe don't share the myths about them, as they don't need to drink blood to survive. But for them is like alcohol. So blood is like alcohol for them, and they get drunk and addicted by it. Nice. So it's like a drug. Also, if a vampire bites a person, the latter doesn't turn into a vampire and they don't burn in sunlight. So I believe the first images are the lesser vampires. Nice. Wingless.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. I like the feet, hands. Second one. Webbed armpits are always a plus in my book. I want some webbed armpits. I would imagine they'd be less sweaty. Maybe. I like that third image. We got the first winged one with like these talons on top. Ooh, that one's awesome. I believe that's a higher form. And the last one. Ooh, beautiful. A little bit Nosferatu-ish. Definitely looks inspired by him. Excellent shares. I love all 4 of them. What say you guys? Any thoughts?
They look majestic.
I agree. That is a good word for it.
On the topic of Nosferatu, I did share the vampire lords from Heroes of Might and 3.
Cool. Where did you share that?
It's a bit above.
A bit above. Let me see. Oh, yes, I did see that. Oh, yes, and definitely, again, inspired. That's what's so awesome with Nosferatu. He's one of the most influential monsters out there that a lot of people don't know about. I can't shout him out enough. If I can't shout him out enough and I'm going to be annoying here, I just have to make a video about him. That's it. Let me see. Heroes of Might and Magic 3. I love the upgrade. I love the...
Yeah, I'm looking for the high resolution 3D art image that was by this particular person, but I'm not able to find the art, which aggravates me.
Well, anytime you post it, I'll try to capture it. Cool form. Powerful creatures in Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Once again, shout out. We need to do that. That's becoming a thing, but not enough of us maybe share that here to make it a thing on the Monstercast.
I think I have to go, guys.
Okay, Gargamel, we got one more person to share.
Oh, have a good night, Gargamel.
Thank you for being here.
It's not night. I have to make myself into eat pretty soon because I'm getting pretty hungry.
Yeah.
And I have a place I have to go a little later.
No worries, man.
I get you.
So I'll see you guys later.
See you, man. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Pony Whisperer, got to give you a watermelon. You just leveled up. Congratulations to him. By the way, guys, Bog and John are fairly new people to the Monsterhood. They've been both very active. John has been really active. He's like basically one of us within a week. So I do want to shout him out for that. We all appreciate you, John. And Bog as well. Although I don't know where you've gone lately. I enjoyed hearing your voice and sticking around here.
I have managed to locate that piece of art. Very high detail.
Oh, that is very nice. Really? That's from Heroes of Might and Magic
Yeah.
3?
Yeah, this is a person who made basically one such art of faction graded unit in very high detail art.
Oh, that's very nice. Okay.
I'll just drop the DeviantArt links. Different images out there.
Yeah, always shout outs to artists is welcome. Let's go with the last person, and that's Phonics. Phonics, are you still around? There he is. Look at that. Right on top. Okay, Phonics. I'm going to read Phonics' side as quick and comprehensively as possible. Phonics says, mine is SCP-2191. Okay, that's a lot of stuff.
Oh, I know this one.
So let me go through generals. Okay. The Dracula Factory is a temple complex located within the dense Huai forest of Romania. This SCP is inhabited by a population of organisms classified as SCP-2191. Instances of this SCP are considered genetically human but have undergone several significant, seemingly fatal mutations. They lack all major internal organs, okay? So there's a specification, very clear, with the exception of the lungs, heart, and brainstem. The outer epidermis lacks pigmentation and displays a condition resembling cracked porcelain, possibly related to Harlequin syndrome. Entities, can somebody Google images of that Harlequin syndrome? I'd like to see that in action. I'm sure it's going to be not very pleasant. Entities.
I don't know about Harlequin syndrome, but this is what the
Oh.
SCP-2191.
Cool. Thank you for that. Very, very pleasant looking in my book. Entities appear androgynous, lacking or having somehow removed secondary sex characteristics. These are, again, me speaking. This, again, reminding me a little bit of the Strigoi of the strain, with their interior anatomy altered and having no sex organs in the end. Their regressed eyes are covered by a layer of skin, rendering them mostly blind but still able to react to light. Okay. So, let's see if there's anything else. Chris, anything else you want to shout out about it that you know off the hand?
Well, basically, the SCP is a giant blob of flesh that is spanning across the Balkan Peninsula. And this blob of flesh has these vampire things, have these slug things get into their mouths and throats. Then the vampire things will find people, suck their blood out. Actually, the worm things in their mouths suck it out. Then they go back to this temple. The slug things crawl out of the vampire things' mouths and go feed the blood to the big fleshy blob beneath the earth. And it has caused several earthquakes to mask the hunting of the vampire thingy bobs. And it's presumed that this particular fleshy blob is in fact the top concubine of the Grand Karcist, which is like the uber Jesus figure of the Sarkic cults, which are basically cults that worship the goddess Yaldabaoth, that basically creates flesh and all that nonsense stuff.
Very nice. And thank you for posting more images. I think Gargamel would largely agree, and you guys that have seen the strain or seen my video on Strigoi, again, even more similarities. You mentioned the slug that goes in, the elongated tongue there. I'm wondering if there's some inspiration that went, because it's all too similar, and it's a little bit reminiscent of the Asswang too. Chris, do you know, or does anybody know, what came first, the Strigoi or this SCP? It looks like it might be a newer SCP. How old is this SCP?
I do not know when the article was posted. Phonics, you got that?
Yeah, if anybody can find out, I'm really curious which one came first, because it seems, I would imagine that the SCP was inspired by the Strigoi. I don't think Guillermo would be going into SCP reading and doing that. I don't think he has the time for that. But yeah, very, very similar. That is definitely something I would have shouted out in that video when I mentioned the similar monsters at the end of those series. SCP-2191 is probably the closest thing to a Strigoi of the Strain series than any other monster out there. Is there a hive mind here in the works, or is it
Yes.
the slug?
Yeah, the giant fleshy thing beneath
Okay.
slugs and the vampire thing.
I love the description, the giant fleshy thing. That's what it is.
Yes.
In our encyclopedia, monster encyclopedia, that's what it's under. You have to search G for giant fleshy thing. Sounds cute and disgusting at the same time. Let's see. Phonics says Sarkic cults. No, nothing. Wound. Okay, so we're not sure. That's something I'm probably going to look into after the Monstercast. Cool. Great last share. Great vampire. And I love the multi-dimensional lore behind it and how they work. That's what made the Strigoi cool and a lot of these monsters. So I appreciate it. All right, guys, we're simmering down now. So anybody want to shout anything out, say any last words before we draw to a close here?
There's one other vampire creature that I particularly like a lot of. They're basically, they look like a normal person at day, except they have a funny smell. But at night, the head grows wings and it pops out of the body with all the organs trailing behind. And it really likes eating baby blood. So they put a bunch of jagged stuff on the windowsills of outside of a pregnant woman's room.
Yes.
And a baby's room.
This is, I believe this is the asswing that I mentioned earlier. Correct, Bog?
Yeah.
I forgot its name.
Yep.
The asswing sounded familiar.
The floaty head with the organs hanging down from its spine. I remember.
Yep. Feeds on the fetuses. Or feeds on fetuses. Yep. Pretty grotesque. It's from cryptozoology, meaning it's from our own human legend. Pretty cool creature. I know it was the inspiration to the Strigoi of the strain, and probably this SCP as well. I think it's from the Philippine folklore, but I'd have to double check that. Goodbye, Phonics, and thank you for being patient and staying till the end here, Phonics, to share your post. Much appreciated. Go ahead, Chris.
I also want to wish Phonics a good night too. And I want to ask if I could just quickly shout out two other vampires that I recalled.
Go ahead.
So the first one would be, again, Count Dracula, but from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Where it's a comedy kids cartoon, my most favorite from Cartoon Network, and
I remember that.
in there he is just this old black person who was a party animal in his youth. And important thing to remember, Dracula don't suck. He lick the blood. Because Dracula don't suck. And
That's
that's
true.
my poor attempt at making a accent. And the other one being another Warhammer, basically my third most favorite vampire after Vlad von Karstein and his wife.
Manfred von Karstein.
Fuck you. Necrons are pussies.
Go ahead, Chris.
Right, just finding the appropriate lore. Pictures, I mean, and that is Luthor Harkin. So he is considerably younger than Vlad. He's about 2,000 to 3,000 years old, and he is from the Blood Dragons bloodline. Those are the vampires that try to be the best warriors in order to defeat dragons and drink their blood to cure themselves of vampirism to an extent, or at least the drawbacks from it. So he is an amazing fighter, and he's a pirate captain. Uh, and so he
In
basically,
Lustria, no less.
I am getting to that. And so he, with his crew of zombie pirates and other monstrosities, go about the South America continent of Warhammer to bother the Lizardmen, where he tried stealing some of their shiny artifacts that have a lot of magic in them, which
Gold.
ended up and that too. But specifically, the magical artifacts broke his mind, and now he has schizophrenia and constantly loops about. He's basically
Magical schizophrenia.
yeah, he is a very an overpowered vampiric Jack Sparrow, you could say.
Okay.
I mean, if Jack Sparrow was a pirate, was a vampire, pirate vampire.
Yeah, except Luther takes it to a whole other extreme because he can go from cheerful and jolly to very, very pants-shittingly scary and at the drop of a hat, basically.
That's fun.
And not to mention all the monsters, undead he has with him to be his fleets.
Chris, I like the first one. Well, I like both of them. I like the first old man one because you mentioned how he licks. And if you guys don't know, with actual vampire bats, they don't really go and suck blood. They will pick a scab and then lick off the blood off of large animals. And so that's actually, it's funny, it's correct, and it's an old man, which makes it even more, I don't know, it's just funny and it works.
Dracula don't suck.
Nice
He
little
lick,
detail
'cause
there.
Dracula don't suck.
So, okay, guys. And the second one, yes, he works. I like your other one more. Definitely your other Warhammer vampire. Very
Yeah,
cool.
Vlad is a boss.
In our
Luther has that special place in my heart because he's adorable.
yeah. In our YouTube chat, we have Dracula 2000 was brought up, and also Raincrawler mentioned Man-Bat of DC. We talked about Marvel a little bit, but DC, and I'll post a picture because he's pretty cool. And here he is. This is Man-Bat of DC. Very nice conception right there. We got webbed armpits, so we've got that checked off. Bat face. So again, it's
Wasn't he
that bat
just
version, not
created
that
by
undead version. Sorry?
If I recall correctly, he was just created to fight Batman because a crazy guy who did genetic things was like, haha, you know what's better than a Batman? A man-bat.
Right. A literal Batman. Cool. Well, I like him. I still like him. It'd be interesting to see a movie like that. Like, done really well, too. Like the other Batman movies. But with this, that would be really hard to pull off. It'd be a challenge. Okay. That is that, folks. Is everybody here? I think somebody stepped out for a moment.
Oh, I have a thing before everything goes
Go ahead. Your thing.
away. I know most of you aren't too familiar with D&D, but there's these things called Illithids, and the main ones that are known of them are called Mind Flayers. They're basically like brain vampires, and they look like Cthulhu people, but they
Right.
like experimenting with things. So at one point, they decided to see if they could merge the powers of vampirism with their own kind. And the things that got the Ithilids that got infected with vampirism kind of just turned into slumps of flesh and apparently died. So they flushed them, and then they came back to life, and they were not nearly as intelligent as they used to be, quite a lot more feral. So their psionic powers were a lot lessened, but they became a lot better at attacking things just
Nice.
physically. And the idea of an Ithilid becoming a proper vampire creature is terrifying. Because they drill into people's brains by secreting things out of tentacles to get through the skulls of things, and then they just give their brain the good suck. They also just like to put their tadpoles in different creatures' heads to make different sorts of
Nice.
ethylid kind that can have different sorts of abilities depending on what it is.
Interesting. Again, a little bit of connection with the Stranger Things Mind Flayer is they had that little slug too that goes in. That's why they named it Mind Flayer there, comparing it to the D&D one. They're obviously quite different, as well as the Demogorgon. But there's a little bit of similarity too there with that little slug.
Yeah, the real Demogorgon is a very angry
Demogod.
two-headed monkey with tentacle arms and
Much
yeah.
more powerful, to say the least. Cool. Mind Flayer shouted out again. Thank you, Bog. Hence, we have a Mind Flayer rank here in our Monsterhood. I like the Mind Flayer conception, too. The whole squid face or cephalopod face. All right, guys.
I would actually like to introduce you to some other types of ethyllids later.
Excellent. At first, I thought you said elapid, which are a type of snake. So, sorry. Let me see. Victor,
that's what I said.
tentacles paralyze the target. Yeah, that is pretty awesome, and it has purpose to the tentacles.
Yeah, but the way they drill is they actually have they're hollow, and they secrete an enzyme that helps them to drill through the person's
Love it.
skull and flesh. Yeah. That's
Which
why, the tadpoles, if they grow too big, eventually can just become these giant worm creatures that can spray acid at things.
Beautiful.
Curiously enough, they have acid that specifically leaves brain matter unharmed.
Okay. So I guess
Funny thing
works.
is, I thought that it was a psionic ability, not a toxin ability.
Everybody, we are over 2 hours in. We need to figure out our next topic, so please don't go yet. You guys on YouTube watching us and here as well. One more question, Bog or Victor. Can you guys tell me which version of D&D did the Mind Flayers come in at? Because it's
I think they've been around since the beginning.
That's pretty
they've
awesome.
been around since the beginning, I'm pretty sure.
And they always had that look?
In fact, they actually existed in the future, then came back from the future in one of the alternate timelines of D&D to escape being totally annihilated by the Githyanki.
Which they had enslaved, and the Githyanki and Githzerai rebelled.
Yeah, so Mind Flayers are basically their own origin.
Right.
They
That is just
exist
cool.
because they came from the future.
It's
Just
cool
like the Aboleth.
that D&D writers came up
The
with such a
Aboleth
cool concept.
just existed from the beginning.
Which is what I was meaning.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Let's choose a topic for our next Monstercast, and we'll finish off with that. Pro is not being ignored as usual. He mentioned favorite Twilight scene.
Pissed off with that
Thank you,
bunch
Victor.
of bullshit.
Super OCD said chimera-type monsters.
Ooh. Chimera monsters, nice. Yes,
so-
let's do that.
Beastie
What
fusions.
is that exactly?
A mix of 3 or more creatures.
Well,
So
chimera,
animal, like
chimera
like
is
hippogriffs
the...
and griffins and
No, where you have,
Those are 2 creatures. Has to be more than just 2.
a manticore.
Manticore would be almost there. Because if you look at the chimera or chimera of mythology, it has the goat head, the lion head, a snake tail, lion body.
And the serpent tail.
So it's this mix of, it's basically an amalgamation of different animals or monsters put into one. So you could say a chimera type creature would be something like a griffin, whereas it's 2, an amalgamation of a mix of 2 monsters. But if you want to follow it 3 or more, we can specify that later. But anyway, an amalgamation
I'd
of...
like to say that Manticore would be in that area because it's got wolf. Lion, scorpion.
Snake tail, lion, and wings of some sort.
No, it's
And it's got
scorpion
a
tail.
scorpion face.
And a human face,
And
right?
scorpion tail.
So that is 3.
I
It's
don't
not
like the
so-
human face part. It looks stupid. I prefer the lion.
So Chimeric
Well,
Monster
lion
says
and
Super
whistle.
OCD.
Yeah.
Really good at whistling.
John says favorite cryptids. That's a good one too.
Didn't we already do that
I know we talked about
in our cryptid talk?
weird cryptids, I think, or silly cryptids. We did cryptids near us. We did that one.
Mm-hmm.
So let me
Wait,
see.
what if we did another one of the ones where we just talk about creatures of our own design again? And this time involve some of the people who are solely YouTube people. And shit
Maybe.
like that.
Okay, we got too many ideas now, guys. So we got
Okay.
the 2.
If I can just pop in a quick little
3.
reference. Speaking of manticores, I'd like to bring up the Heroes of Might and Magic 3 once again with this image.
Oh.
And that would be there technically a Scorpicore.
Yep.
Um,
Scorpicore, like this little
I
man
love that one. The
put up by a
troglodyte
troglodyte.
doing his
I love
duties.
the smirk of the troglodyte. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love the smirk of the troglodyte. And
he's proud.
see, if Fortress didn't exist, Dungeon would be my most favorite in Heroes of Might and 3.
It's a little gorgeous piece. Yeah. I love because all the other troglodytes are probably like moving manure or, moving mounds of manure about. That's what they do on their daily day. And only he's been picked out to go serve. He's happy.
Yep. It's adorable.
Okay, guys, so here they are. Since we've already done Bog, we did our own creations, so I won't put that one in the list for now since we have enough suggestions. Let me check our YouTube people. Okay, so here are the choices, guys. Favorite cryptids. It'll be another favorite episode, but that's one of the options. Favorite cryptids. And the next one will be, what was it? Fused beasties. As Super CD put it nicely and clear, so we don't argue about chimeric. Thank you, Super OCD. Okay, so, and I think there was one more. I think that Dio might have mentioned. Let me see here. If there's another one, I think that should be it. But we are spending too much time on this. A creepypasta monsters.
Wait. I had a thing there for a second. Just give me a second because I lost it in my saying, oh.
Yes.
Oh, favorite monsters that used to be human or something similar, like a dwarf.
Type it out. Hurry up. Clarify it. Okay, guys. So let's take a.
Type it out.
Yes. Make it simple so we can all understand what the options are.
I can tell you right now what mine is going to be.
Fused beasties. Okay, so once again, guys, make your vote. Fused beasties or favorite cryptids or creepypasta monsters. Pasta. And favorite just monsters that used to be human. Or favorite monsters that used to be humans. Okay, make your vote, guys.
My vote is for the fused beasties.
Fused beasties. Okay, I will say fused beasties. Same with Chris. C, what about you?
Favorite cryptids.
Favorite
Yeah, I
cryptids.
can't pronounce things today.
Okay. We got 2 for favorite. No, 1. Bog, which one, Bog? You voting your own?
No, I'm just gonna ask that you pin it so we can put that on the back burner for later, so we don't forget it.
Okay, cool. Okay. Arthur, Godzilla, Diva, Godzilla, Creepypasta Monsters. Louis says, I think the winner is Fused Beasties.
Which
Let's
one
see.
did you say was the winner?
I think Fused Beasties from what it looks like.
Well,
Anybody
then I'll
disagree
vote
with
for-
me? Yeah, looks like it's Fused Beasties. Okay, guys, so next week we're going to be talking about chimeric type monsters, fused beasties, amalgamations into one creature where we can split it up and see clearly what it's composed of. Choose one favorite one. One favorite one. Everybody hear that? Shoutouts can happen after everybody shares, but let's keep things moving. Everybody have a chance to talk. So let's do one favorite one and why it is so. Why'd you choose that one? Everyone
I
clear?
already have mine.
Beautiful. Any questions?
Nope.
All right. So, thank you, everybody. Thank you guys on YouTube for supporting us there. We do enjoy you guys watching us. We've been doing these shows for a while now, and actually, you guys that are watching us do know that. So, you know how much we appreciate you here. Thank you, Donde. Last words from you. Go ahead. Dio, thank you also for joining in today. Awesome. John, thank you for joining in. Chris, another great
Yes.
pleasure having you here.
Moment of silence for Xenoc.
Hold on. Procrastitron, thank you for having you. Thank you for being here, not having you. Even though you almost got kicked. Queen of Kobolds.
He should be kicked with that Edward crap.
He should. How many people vote for Pro to be kicked right now?
Let him live.
Wait, we're voting
Make
for
it so.
again?
We got one for no. See, Chris has a heart. Remember that, Pro. Chris stuck up for you. You remember that next time you ever pick on Chris. Or rats,
Hey,
for that
bro,
matter.
I'm gonna vote for no as well because you shared some nice kobolds.
There we go. You get to live, bro. You're good. Okay. So, thank you, Pro. Thank you, Bob,
you guys
for
know
joining
where
in.
my priorities are: dragons and kobolds.
There you go. A moment of silence for Super OCD. Thank you for making it here, Super OCD. If you guys stick around, she might get on voice chat later. She has been pretty active the last week. Okay, that's that moment of silence. Victor, thank you for joining us today.
Good to be back.
I think everybody here has the rank of Plagued Scholar. That should have it. John will earn it fairly soon. If you don't have Plagued Scholar yet...
Wait, do I have Scholar already?
Not yet. I don't think you've made it to enough monster casts. But soon enough. See? Thank you for staying...
I've made it to part of several of them. I just
I'm
haven't
sorry.
done all of them.
True.
I've already been away for a few times. It's just unpredictable.
No worries, C. It's been awesome having you today. Okay, guys. Final words. Go ahead. I'm going to say thank you to everybody. I sincerely apologize for being late today. I
all
wasn't
good.
planning on it. If I would be, then I'd let you know at least. So I'm really sorry, but I'm just glad you guys continued. And I look forward to talking with you guys next week about Fused Beasties, only here on the Monstercast. All right, guys. Final words. I bid you farewell.
Necro-
Do not God damn it.
Sorry.
John Hawk. The phony
Do not
whisperer,
fear the unknown.
said
Seek it
Godzilla,
out.
king of all
Research
monsters,
it
will be
and
a
try
box
to
office failure
understand
that will
it.
lead to the cancellation
Fear
of
the
the
unknown.
legendary
Shoot it in the face
Monsterhood.
with
Thank you,
shoot it
Chris.
with a shotgun.
Dragons.
By the way, thank you, Raincrawler and Louis Xanadog, for being active on YouTube chat. We definitely appreciated that as well. All right, outro music is finally going. All right, that's it.
I will, Dio. Very much so. Would happily have more dungeon memes from